Today we are having a very special guest. Today we have a very special guest on the channel. You guys already know who Osiris is. Osiris is in probably every single one of my videos. And if he's not making an appearance in my YouTube videos, that's just because he's annoyed with me. Because I'm definitely one of those dog owners who is obsessed with their dog. I don't know if it's a problem or not. I don't think it is. If you don't know who Osiris is, he is the special guest of today's vlog. I am so very excited to have him on, as is he. I thought for today's video it'd be a ton of fun if we actually had Osiris here pick the reads for the week. I've seen so many other people do this on YouTube already and it looks like so much fun. Like I said, Osiris is literally in every vlog as it is, so why not actually have him participate, include him a little bit more, and let him be a part of the fun. He's gonna be picking from my current TBR pile, and you're gonna pick the books I read this week. I'm so very excited. I am looking for fun ways to complete my TBR. So we're starting off with Osiris. I have 6 books here that are on like my TBR for the year so far. First up we have Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I actually just recently picked this up. This is really cool. I really want to read this one because I've heard a lot of good things about it. I've seen a lot of really cute romancy quotes from it that I'm just like dying to read in the actual story. So this is also like a dark gothic romantasy, I think, which I don't really read. I don't think I've read a lot of that genre, so this would be a really fun new type of read for me. The Assassin's Blade by Sarah J Maas. This is part of the Throne of Glass series. We've read a lot of Sarah J Maas together, haven't we? In my March TBR, I actually asked you guys to pick between The Assassin's Blade and Throne of Glass and which book to really start with. A lot of you voted for Assassin's Blade. Honestly, it was really cool to go through like everyone's answers and see everyone's like reasoning behind it. When I was kind of looking at it from what I would like when it comes to reading, it seems like I should probably start with Assassin's Blade, so this is also on our TBR. Next up we have X's and O's by Amy Lee. This is just a cute little Valentine's romance. This was on my February TBR. I never got around to it, but I still really want to read it. He's literally just hanging on. I still really want to read it though because it just seems absolutely adorable. You guys know I love a good romance rom-com-y book. Then we have Emily Wilde's Encyclopedia of Fairies. This one is high on my list of books that I really want to read. It just sounds so good and so fun, and I love fairies. So this, high on my list. I really want to read this book. We have Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is like a big, highly requested book on my channel. So many of you rave about Binding 13. So many of you say I have to read it because you guys know I'm a big romance girly. I love my romance. And so many of you have said that this is like one of the most amazing romances. And it's also like a really popular book talk book. Everyone says that it's actually worth the hype, so this is also on my TBR. I've also seen a lot of really cool and cute quotes from that book as well, and definitely seems like my type of story. Last but not least, we have Ruthless Vows by Rebecca Ross. This is the sequel to Divine Rivals, which Divine Rivals has my heart. I ended last year on like the best note possible with reading because I read Divine Rivals and Powerless, and they ended up being my favorite books of 2023. So this is the sequel. It came out at like the end of December, and I've kind of been putting it off because when I read a super good book and the sequel comes out, I want to jump on it, but I'm also like so nervous and also sad because I don't want it to end. I don't want to say goodbye to Iris and Roman, so that's also part of the reason, but I feel like I'm ready now to jump into it and see how it all ends. This is our 6th and final book on the TBR that you're gonna be choosing from. Forgot my rings. I knew something felt really off when I started filming because I was like, I feel like I'm forgetting something, and it was my rings, so come here! He's so uninterested right now. How we're gonna do it and how I've seen other people do it is we're gonna lay the books in a straight line in the room. We're gonna carefully place a TREAT on top of each book, and we are gonna let Osiris pick. Whichever books he goes to first are gonna be the books I read this week, and then we're gonna go from there. Osiris is very food. Did you see the little ear twitch? Osiris is very food motivated. He will literally eat anything, to be completely honest, and just because he'll eat it doesn't necessarily mean it is always healthy for him. But here's an idea. What if dogs ate real food? What if you ate real food? I actually switched Osiris over a few weeks ago to the farmer's dog, and he has been loving life so much since switching over. It's real fresh, healthy food with whole meat and veggies. It's also gently cooked in human grade kitchens to keep that nutritional value. And it's perfect because it's real food for you. I've always been a firm believer in feeding dogs real food that's good for them. When I first got Osiris, I was just feeding him like hard food or basic kibble, and he is my first ever dog in my entire life. So that's just what I got for him because that's what I saw everyone else doing. But as time went on and I was doing more research on what's the best food to give him and what's the healthiest food to give him, it eventually led me all the way to the farmer's dog and feeding him fresh food. What I really like about it too is that it's actually personalized. So you just tell them about your dog and they'll deliver personalized vet developed recipes for as little as $2 a day. The meals arrived in pre-portioned, ready to serve packets conveniently delivered on your schedule. And I'm not kidding you guys when I say I've never seen Osiris so pumped for food. Like, he's always been pretty food motivated, but with the farmer's dog, he is like doing a happy dance every time I pull it out of the fridge. Honestly, like the cutest thing ever. I love how convenient and fresh the farmer's dog is. Dog people all across the country have ordered millions of meals from the farmer's dog. It's literally never been easier to invest in your dog's health with fresh food. I could not recommend it enough. It will make your dog so happy. I've genuinely never seen him more happier and healthy as well. In a way, I feel like it's also helped with his coat. His fur just feels so much softer. He's just such a happier boy now. He has more energy, which he is an Aussie, so he already has like the most energy a dog can have, honestly. Everything just seems so much better and happier since the farmer's dog. And I actually have an incredible deal for you guys. If you use my link down below, you'll get your first box for 50% off as well as free shipping. Like, it doesn't get better than that. So definitely check them out. Use the link down below. But now it is time. I feel like he's getting sleepy on me. He's like, Mom, you've been talking for so long. Can we just get a move on? Now it is time to pick my reads for the week. Do you want to pick my books? We have the Osiris. No, you can't take him yet. Come here. No. He's literally taking them already. This is not going as planned. We have the books laid out. We are gonna let Osiris go pick. You slobbered all over me. We're gonna let Osiris go at it and pick the books. I'm honestly kind of nervous. Are you ready? This is your time to shine. Go ahead. Good boy. I like the way you think. You're so cute. He's like, okay, I did my job. Thank you so much. You're the sweetest. Okay, guys, we have our 3 books. Are you just over it now? You're like, I got my stuff, I'm done. So, Osiris picked out 3 books for us. I don't know if I'm gonna read all 3 in this video specifically, but we are gonna try to get through at least 1 or 2. First one he chose is Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. This is book 1 in the Boys of Tommen series, a book that so many of you have been literally so many of you have been asking me to read this book. This is supposed to be a really cute, kind of emotional YA romance, and I think it's a rugby romance, which I think is interesting. I don't know anything about rugby, to be completely honest, so this is gonna be really interesting. I've heard nothing but good things about it, so I have no doubt in my mind that I'm gonna love it, obviously. Something that's definitely held me back from reading it, how tiny the words are on the pages. I'm definitely gonna have to wear my glasses. Nonetheless, I'm super excited. On the back, it says he wants to save her, she wants to hide, she's damaged, he's determined, fate brought them together, love binds them. Johnny Kavanagh has everything going for him on the rugby pitch. He's a force to be reckoned with, even plagued with a hidden injury. Everyone knows he's heading straight for the top, but that means there's no room for mistakes or distractions. Not even the shy new girl at Tommen College, the one with the sad eyes and concealed bruises. He needs to stay focused, keep his cool, and not let anything get in the way of the bigger picture. Except before he knows it, this lonely girl has become his only picture. I'm already getting like that giddy feeling. I'm so excited. Binding 13 is on our TBR for this vlog. Next up, you picked Belladonna. You're a real one. Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I literally just bought this book like a couple weeks ago, and if you have not seen teasers for this book, if you haven't seen any quotes from this book floating around Instagram, Book Talk, Pinterest, whatever it may be, wow, you've definitely been missing out, because the quotes I've seen from this book are literally incredible. I would read one itty bitty quote, I would start getting super giddy and excited, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I need to read Belladonna. So I already mentioned it, but this is like a dark gothic romantasy book, and I'm pretty sure it's like a romance between a girl and Death himself. Sounds a little wild, but when we read this, we're starting with this one, actually. I hope you don't mind. We're starting with Belladonna because I can't help myself. I need to start this book and see like what the actual storyline is. But when we start reading it, going through it, I'm sure we'll get like a better understanding. The main character is named Signa. She's an orphan who's been raised by a string of guardians, and it seems that everywhere she goes, people are dying. She reaches her next family, which is the Hawthorns. She finds there's like a murder mystery to be unfolded. She's trying to hunt down the killer, and she ends up making a deal with death. Whatever that means, I don't know, but I'm very excited about this. The quotes I have seen like make me excited, and also I love nicknames when it comes to romances. I think Signa's nickname in this book is Little Bird, and I don't know what it is, but something about being called Little Bird, something is killing me inside. So this is at the top of our list for this vlog. I'm pooped. It's time for nap time. The third book Osiris picked is X's and O's by Amy Lee, which again is just a cutie little Valentine's Day romance. What makes me super excited about this one is that it's actually about like a social media influencer who's obsessed with romance books. So I'm gonna love this. She's obsessed with romance books, also obsessed with romance books. And that makes me really excited. And turns out she's revisiting her exes on her hunt for true love in this romantic comedy. I feel like this is gonna be really cute and really fun. These are the 3 books we are hopefully going to try and read in this video. I don't know if we'll get to all 3, but we will see. And the first one we're gonna start off with is Belladonna. Death waits for no one except her. It's gotta be a romance between her and death. This is gonna be life-changing, I think. We're literally only 1 chapter in, and Signa's already being called Little Bird. The curls are for sure curling today, guys. I don't know what the heck's going on with my hair, but doing a little mini update on Belladonna. I'm on chapter 18, page 157. I'm loving this so much. I knew I was gonna love this. Like, I just knew. Like I said, I've just seen so many quotes from this book kind of sprinkled around social media the past few months, and then I thought it was like some type of sign when Owl creates like YA box or something. It was all like Belladonna stuff for the most part. So I was like, okay, this is a sign. Like, I have to pick this book up, and I'm loving every second of it. It's so different from what I usually read, and I think that's like one of the reasons why I'm really enjoying this, because it's just so different. Like, I've never read anything like this before. But our main character, Signa, is diving deep into this murder mystery. Basically, she's staying with a new family, the Hawthorns, and she's staying at their beautiful, massive estate. They're like super wealthy and high up in society. She is quickly finding out that the entire estate seems to be haunted, and there's a ton of ghosts, and just like all this weird stuff keeps happening. And she's trying to uncover this murder mystery to hopefully prevent someone else in the mansion from like getting killed. It's giving Haunting of Hill House vibes. I don't know if you guys have seen that. It was like a Netflix show that came out in 2018, which is so crazy. I don't think I watched it till like 2020, but Haunting of Hill House, for some reason, reading this, that's kind of what I'm imagining, and I don't even know if I'm like spot on with that or not, because I haven't seen that show in so long, but for some reason, that's like the connection I'm kind of making to this right now, and how I'm like envisioning everything. Like, even the ghosts, I'm envisioning them as the ghost from Haunting of Hill House, which, I don't know, like everything about this is so interesting though. And I think Signa's relationship with death is so interesting, and he just randomly appears and they have like these really weird conversations, and there's like something tying them together. Like, I just know there's something that's happened. I don't know what, but something's happened, and it's tying Signa to death. Like, for some reason, she's able to cheat death every single time. Like, every time she does something crazy or reckless where something bad should happen to her, it doesn't. Like, she cheats cheats death every time, and it's so interesting, like their whole relationship. And basically like right now he's just like shadows. Like we don't actually have a description of what he looks like, if he looks like a normal human, like a man, like we have no idea. He's just always presenting himself to her as shadows, and it's just so interesting, their whole relationship and dynamic. I'm really enjoying it. I'm enjoying their banter. The last like few chapters, there's been some pretty good banter. I'm like living for it right now. We're on chapter 18. I'm loving this. I'm eating it up. I have that like giddy 5-star feeling. Obviously so much can change and we have like all of this book to go, but I'm loving it and I'm loving the storyline so far. The dark gothic fantasy vibes are definitely there. I feel like this would be such a fun book to read like during spooky season, because it's definitely got like a little bit of spookiness to it with the ghost. It just gives off like spooky vibes. This is amazing. We are gonna keep going. I've literally just been binging this and there's so many good quotes in here, guys, that I'm just living for. The last one I highlighted is, "I know you better than you think, just as I know that you will never rid yourself of me, little birds. I will never rid myself of you." Like, shut up. Are you kidding? I'm sorry. Are we falling in love with death? Okay guys, so I am so close to being done with Belladonna. We're on chapter 46, page 385. I think this might be like the last chapter before the epilogue. I stayed up literally all night reading this. Like I could not put it down. I physically could not go to sleep. I had to keep reading this. That's how addicting this book has been and how much I'm like actually in love with it. I'm so surprised because it's so different from anything I've literally ever read in my entire life. I am actually so in love with it. It's going to be so hard not to jump into book 2 immediately after finishing this. I'm loving this so much. Everything about this has been so different, so fun, exciting, thrilling. I'm getting like all the feels possible from this book. I do feel like if I read this in the fall time, the vibes would be immaculate. I'm kind of bummed that it's not the fall time, but nonetheless, this is still so incredible. Without spoiling anything, we've basically been following our main character Signa throughout this entire murder mystery. She's trying to figure out who the murderer is in Thorngrove. So it's been really fun and interesting. She's had a little help along the way. I have to say, like now that like we've reached the very end, I don't think there's like anything crazy that's gonna happen in the last chapter, but who knows? When it comes to like the plot twist and like all the little surprises that happened in this book, I did call like some of them, like I predicted some of them, but there were ones that I was pretty surprised about that I didn't predict. The whole romance aspect of this book, it literally had me like all giddy and happy at like 3 a.m. I was like, oh my gosh, I can't put this down. Like I have to keep reading and see what happens. It's definitely a slow burn, but it is worth every single second. Honestly, I think slow burns are like my favorite romances because you don't want to put the story down. Like you just want to keep going. And I don't know, there's just something about a slow burn and like an enemies to lovers that just makes me so happy and giddy reading about two people who absolutely despise each other and then watching them slowly fall in love and go crazy for one another. And this was just so fun and different and exciting. I feel like I just keep repeating those 3 words over and over again, but that's genuinely how this book makes me feel. I'm in shock. Like this is so good. Anyways, the romance aspect, it's an enemies to lovers, it's a slow burn. The book kind of plays tricks on you and I really liked that part. I liked the whole trickery of Adele and Grace in this and the romancing, because you think one thing is gonna happen with the romance and then something else happens, and I just thought it was really cool and different the way she wrote it. The title Belladonna is named after belladonna berries, which are poisonous, and I really liked that. I love the title of the book because because it literally stands for everything that happens in this. Like, it's so cool. And then obviously the romance with death. I'm still trying to wrap my head around like that whole aspect of this book, but I genuinely really loved it. I didn't think I was gonna love it as much as I did. You think of death, you don't think of romancing or anything positive. In this book though, Adeline Grace kind of puts a different perspective on death. I think the way she writes about death and grief is really different, and I really enjoyed that part. I don't want to say it like gave me closure or anything, but in a way it did, if that makes sense. It's so weird. The whole death concept in this book is so fascinating to me, and the fact that death is a character in this book and like a person, and he's like part of the romance. I don't know. Honestly, I was eating it up. Still trying to decide between these two books on what we're gonna read next. We're gonna finish up Belladonna though, come back, read it, talk a little bit more about it. Also like a Regency vibe to it, because I think it takes place back in like the Regency era, which I really like. We're back. I finished Belladonna, but I finished it like, I don't know, probably like an hour or two ago. I've just kind of been relaxing, sitting with it, because I've been going back and forth between a 4-star rating and a 5-star rating, and I feel like because I'm going back and forth with it, it's probably gonna be a 4-star. I feel like if it was a 5-star, I wouldn't be like debating it, but we finished Belladonna, our first read of today's reading vlog, and wow, I am literally blown away. I've already said it so many times. This is so different and exciting and fun, and I love like the mystery thriller aspect to it, because it's not like as spooky as like a normal mystery thriller, but like, I don't know, it's so fun. That must just be like the genre, the gothic romantasy genre. And to be completely honest, because I enjoyed this so much, I definitely want to dive further into it and maybe look at other like gothic fantasy books. It's taking everything in me not to go and grab Foxglove and like just start reading it right now, because I just want to jump in to book 2 and see like what happens next and how the story continues. This is amazing. You know what? I think I'm gonna go with a 4.5 star rating, right? I feel like that's a little better, because I'm in between a 4 and a 5. 4.5 stars for Belladonna by Adeline Grace. I loved every second of this book. Like I said, I stayed up literally through the night reading this because I could not put it down. I was like addicted. Like I could not stop reading and flipping the pages. My eyes at one point were getting tired, and I immediately was like, no, we are not done. We are not stopping. We are gonna keep going. I also just loved the romance aspect of this. It sounds so weird to just be saying death over and over again, but like in the story, death is like a real person, and like so is fate, which I think is really interesting. Slow burn, enemies to lovers, got mystery in there. We've got magic in there. We've even got little ghosties in here. I don't know. I think Signa's story is so unique and fun, and I just can't wait to read book 2. I love this so much. Definitely one of my favorite books I've read so far this year. One that will probably stick with me for a while. I don't know how I'm gonna stop thinking about this book now and these characters, because I'm low-key obsessing over them. Now that we finished our first read of today's video, we are gonna jump in to our second one. One of my biggest pet peeves is chapped lips. So the other 2 books that Osiris picked for me is X's and O's by Amy Lee, and then Binding 13 by Chloe Walsh. I'm like going back and forth. I feel like X's and O's we could probably fly through because it's a cute little rom-com, but at the same time, so many people have been telling me to read Binding 13. Like, do we just start Binding 13? And see what the hype is about? I'm low-key kind of nervous, because what if I don't like it? I mean, I'm probably gonna love it, but I'm just always nervous when I get into like really popular books. I think we're gonna give it a try. I also have my Kindle here because it's actually available on Kindle Unlimited. If you guys wanted to know, if you guys wanted to read Binding 13, it's available for free with Kindle Unlimited. So I'm actually gonna download that. Oh my gosh, it's literally right here. I love reading books on my Kindle because I feel like I read so much faster. I don't know if that's a real thing, but I feel like so many people say that they read faster on their Kindle too. So I love reading on my Kindle because I feel like I read faster, but I also read so much more than when I'm going to bed. Okay, we have it downloaded. I'm so excited. Okay, so he wants to save her, she wants to hide, she's damaged, he's determined, fate brought them together in love binds them. This is a romance about Johnny Kavanagh and a girl named Shannon. I'm very excited. I've seen so many positive things about this book. Also a lot of, I don't want to say like sad, but definitely like emotional quotes that come from this book. I feel like that's what makes reading so beautiful and fun, because it can make you feel so many different emotions and you get to experience so many different things within the pages of books. We are gonna jump in to Binding 13, see what happens. I'm so excited and like nervous, but also really excited. So hi guys, it's pretty late at night. It's like 10 o'clock. We just got home from a hockey game and I wanted to do a little update with you guys on Binding 13. But before we do, I came home to a really exciting package. I'm going to show you guys both books I received because they're absolutely stunning. So the first one is Fangirl Down by Tessa Bailey. I'm part of the Afterlight monthly romance subscription and this was February's book pick, I think. It's like a cute little golf romance, but look at these edges. It basically continues like the artwork from the cover and I just think it's so cool. I was like actually really impressed with how they did this. And then the other book I actually like specially ordered, gosh, I think like in the fall time. Guys, I have been waiting to get my hands on Allie Hazelwood's newest book, like her first ever fantasy romance book, and I have been dying to read it. It's been out for like a little over a month now. I didn't pick it up in store right away because I had this coming, so I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna buy it right away. I'm gonna wait. This is also from Afterlight. Are you guys ready for these edges? Stop it right now. Look how stunning. The detail. I think this may be one of my favorite custom edges ever. I think this is so beautiful. And then I also really love the hardcover. I think it's really pretty. Yeah, so this is like her newest fantasy romance book and it's her first fantasy book. It's gonna be super fun to read. I'm not really big on Tessa Bailey books, but I'm definitely gonna give this a try because I really wanna like this book so I can keep it. Because if I don't like it, I'll probably get rid of it. But I wanna keep it because it looks so cute and it's also a golf romance. And I've never read a golf romance before, but like I go golfing a lot with Chris, so I feel like there's potential there. I feel like I could end up really liking it. Anyways, Binding 13, I've only read, let's see, I've read 100 pages so far. Also, this book, could we just take a minute? See how floppy this book is? I'm loving like the floppiness to it. I don't know why, but floppy books just make me so happy. We're 100 pages in. I'm on chapter 9. I don't think I have ever underlined, highlighted, annotated a book so much in my entire life. Like I'm literally underlining something every other paragraph. I'm not even kidding. There's just so many cute quotes in here. I feel like we haven't even gotten to like anything crazy yet, but I'm already really obsessed with this and I have very high hopes. Like I know this is very early on and I shouldn't be jumping to any conclusions because again, nothing has literally happened, but because of how much I'm enjoying the writing style and the characters and just like how the story's going so far, I feel like this is going to be a super high rating for me and I can already feel like this is going to be one of my favorite romances because of how the story's going and like how the characters are kind of interacting. Johnny, like, okay, I understand the hype now about Johnny Kavanagh. He's so he's perfect, to be completely honest. I haven't really found anything wrong with him, but again, we're only 100 pages in, so there's a lot more pages to maybe nitpick at his character, but I'm absolutely adoring him, and I am absolutely adoring Shannon. I think her character is just so sweet and innocent and cute, and I'm excited to like dive deeper into her story because she comes from like a really tough at-home situation. So I'm excited to like dive deeper into that. I'm already making so many like personal connections to each and every character as well, so I'm loving that. You guys know I always talk about this when it comes to reading, but if I can make like connections with the characters and the storylines, it makes reading so much more fun for me. The way that Johnny and Shannon kind of meet, love that. It's kind of crazy, to be completely honest. I was really nervous at first. I don't know how this is gonna go, but love their story so far. We're gonna keep going. I'm literally underlining everything in this book. We are gonna keep going though and see how far I can get. I feel like I'm reading this at such a slow pace, but at the same time, I don't know if you guys can tell, but like these words, these are really tiny words. Like I need to wear my glasses when I'm reading this book. This is me when I'm reading the book because I literally can't see anything. I am reading at like a slower pace, but I don't really mind it because I'm enjoying it so much. I feel like there's just so much to take in. And yeah, we're gonna keep going and see what happens. I'm literally gonna spend the rest of the night just reading, binging this, and loving it because it was really hard to put this book down this morning. So doing a little check-in with you guys again. I'm only on page 275, chapter 31. This is taking me so long to get through. In my mind, I'm like, why am I reading so slow? But I'm really not. Like, there's just so many words to a page. But anyways, we're on chapter 31. We're almost halfway through. I'm loving this. I'm loving this so much. I don't remember the last time I read a romance like this, like a sporty romance, and loved it this much. I also love that it's so different from other romances that I've read before because it's a rugby romance, but also takes place in a different country. Like, it doesn't take place in America. So I also like that aspect. I honestly am loving every second of this. I think our two main characters, Johnny and Shannon, are so precious. Like, they are so stinking sweet. They're both kind of going through their own things right now, but I'm loving how protective Johnny is over Shannon. The way that he is just like flying to her aid no matter what. He definitely has like that hero complex, and I low-key love it. Like, I'm low-key eating that up in this. Shannon is going through so much. There's just like so many things that she's going through that I totally feel for her. If you're going into Binding 13, please check for trigger warnings because there's a lot of like heavy, sensitive stuff that kind of happens in this book. There's like some touchy stuff in here, you know? There's like certain things that I really connect to with her, and it just like breaks my heart for her. It's so real. Like, it's so realistic to me. It's kind of scary. So I'm loving every second of this. I'm loving Shannon and Johnny's dynamic right now. It's definitely a slow burn type of romance. Johnny is like a few years older than Shannon, and he doesn't feel that it's appropriate to be with someone younger than him. He's never been with anyone younger with him, so he basically has like this rule to himself to stay away from her. But no matter what, obviously he's just drawn to her. He can't stop looking for her everywhere he goes, and they're just constantly being thrown together. I love that. I love every bit of this book. I have definitely been staying up far too late binging it because I just can't stop thinking about these characters. I have very high hopes. I don't want to jinx it and say that's gonna be a 5-star, but low-key I feel a 5-star coming out of this just because of like the way it's making me feeling. Like, it's giving me those happy butterflies. It's getting all the giggles out of me. And this is more on the serious side, I feel like, but at the same time there are little funny, cute moments in this book where I just find myself giggling and being like, oh my gosh, this is so realistic. This is exactly how boys talk. That's what boys say. That's actually pretty realistic because I know sometimes when I read like sport romances, when I read like hockey romances especially, I was like, that's not how boys talk to each other. Nonetheless, I'm loving that part too. I think this is actually amazing. I think it's really realistic and it's so cute and sweet. Everything I honestly love about romance. So I'm just loving this so much. I know I keep saying that, but I'm just in shock at how good this book is so far. I have to say that if you like One Tree Hill, I feel like this kind of gives off One Tree Hill vibes. And I think it's kind of funny because I was thinking that, and then I think a few chapters in, the book references the show One Tree Hill, and I'm like, this feels like One Tree Hill to me. I'm gonna keep reading it throughout today and tomorrow, and yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen. I'm honestly really nervous. I haven't cried yet, so that's a positive. And I also feel like very similar to Belladonna, it's gonna be very hard to finish this book and not immediately jump into book 2. Like, I'm trying so hard to stick to like my monthly TBR, but when I read books like this and start series, it's so hard not to like just jump in immediately to the next one, especially because I have them. I don't know. Anyways, we are gonna keep going today, see what happens. I'm gonna try and get through like the majority of this and maybe do one more check-in with you guys, but I really want to try and finish this up because I'm like waiting for like Johnny and Shannon. They're just so sweet, guys. Like, they honestly have my heart. They may be one of my favorite book couples, and they're not even a couple, so do with that what you will. Okay guys, wow, it's been an eventful last few days. First though, I got new headphone covers this morning. How stinking cute are these? Like little cherries with bows on them, and then there's like a bunch of hearts, and I'm obsessed with them. And then I also tied like cute little bows on, and then I put on like these white silicone covers just because like I always am getting makeup on my headphones, and it's honestly so annoying and frustrating washing them. So I decided to get white silicone covers, and then I also have like a white cover up here, which is really nice. But I wanted to share them with you because I just switched out my like floral ones, and then I had like pink silicone covers and stuff like that. Oh, and then I also got these adorable little stuffed animals. I posted these on my Instagram like a day or two ago and keep getting so many questions about them, so I wanted to put it in the vlog. How stinking cute are these guys? I'm literally obsessed. They're just like these mega plushies, and I actually found them at Barnes & Noble, so run to your local Barnes and see if they have them. They have like so many cute little foods. They have like a sushi one that I really wanted to get. Anyways, hi, how are you? Long time no chat. It's been, I don't know how long it's been actually. It's taken me quite a while to get through Binding 13. Not because it's a bad book. No, not because it's a bad book, because it's too good of a book. Guys, your girl is going to need some time. I'm actually unwell after finishing that book, so let's talk about it. Osiris has been hanging out with me all week long, reading the books he picked. You really outdid yourself. We got a 5-star read out of this vlog. Binding 13 is 5 stars for me. I say that I'm surprised because it's a book that I've put off for so long. I just didn't think going into it was gonna be a 5-star, probably a 4-star. I'm speechless. Guys, I literally am speechless, and that may be a first for me because I talk a lot. I don't know what to do with myself. I'm literally just thinking about these characters in this world constantly. It's a book that you will get addicted to. I keep replaying scenes that I've read like days ago. I'm still replaying them in my head. So much happened in this book, and I just was not expecting a lot of it. I'm gonna try and gather my thoughts here in the smoothest way possible for you guys. So Binding 13, Chloe Walsh. It's a YA romance. It's very emotional, kind of a roller coaster. Definitely check for trigger warnings before hopping into this because there are a lot of triggering topics that this covers, especially like the physical and verbal abuse aspect in this book. It tells the story of a very shy girl named Shannon Lynch. She actually ends up transferring to Tommen from, is it BCS, I think? She actually ends up transferring because she was getting severely bullied and having a ton of problems. So she comes to Tommen, and she ends up having a much better experience, luckily, for the most part, and she meets Johnny Kavanaugh, who is like a huge rugby star in the school. Everyone knows that he's gonna go and play professionally, and he's like a big shot. Everybody knows who Johnny Kavanaugh is. Some crazy things happen, and him and Shannon cross ways. They cross paths. Literally, they cross paths. Shannon is already very standoffish. She's a very shy, quiet girl. She doesn't like confrontation. She's literally afraid of the world, basically, and honestly for good reason. When you read about her story, you understand why she is the way way she is, and I really loved her character. Like, I think her character was so beautifully written, and we'll talk about that in a second. Johnny at first wants to keep his distance from her because she's a third year and he's a sixth year, I believe, but they're only like a year or two difference in age, but he just never goes for girls younger than him. Right off the bat though, Johnny is like drawn to Shannon, Shannon is drawn to Johnny, and we kind of just watch this whole story play out. They are constantly running into each other. The world is literally throwing them together over and over again, and I feel like Johnny and Shannon are just fated to be together, and I loved every single moment of their journey and their story. I think every other page I was literally highlighting, underlining, annotating. There are so many amazing, beautiful quotes. Very much gives off touch her and you'll die vibes. Johnny is so protective of Shannon. He's kind of like her hero throughout this whole story. He's always aiding to her. He's always there to rescue her. I love that. I don't know if that's like a popular or unpopular thing, but I love those alpha heroes in stories, and Johnny definitely gives off that vibe. He will do anything to protect Shannon, and he'll also do anything for her, and I just love characters like that. I don't know, it's probably because I'm like a sappy romance lover, but definitely a super slow burn. Again, Johnny wants to kind of keep his distance from Shannon because of like the little age difference. Also knows that in a few months he's going to be going away and living somewhere else because of rugby, so that's another reason he's kind of like standoffish with the whole thing. This was beautiful. I think it was beautifully written. Gives off One Tree Hill vibes in a really weird way if you're familiar with that show. After this is Keeping 13, and there's two books after that that revolve around Shannon's older brother, and then after that there's actually a book coming out that's going to revolve around Gibbsy and Claire, and I'm so excited because while reading this, Johnny's very best friend Gibbsy, he is so stinking funny. I was in love with his character throughout this entire book. Anytime his character was in a chapter, I knew it was going to be amazing because every time he was in a scene, I just found myself literally cackling. He was so funny. He's one of my favorite characters. He is madly in love with Shannon's friend Claire though, and the new book that's coming out, I think in April, it's their story, and I'm so excited. So found family, amazing. Slow burn in this, also amazing. It gives you those happy butterflies and that giddy feeling where you want to kick your feet. It really gives off like first love vibes. Reading this, it just makes you think of falling in love for the first time. Twist and the cliffhanger at the end, I do not appreciate because I just want to jump into book 2, and I honestly might have to stray away from my TBR and read book 2 because I need to know what happens next. This was amazing. I literally binged it day and night. I found myself staying up till like 3-4 a.m. reading this because I could not put it down. Dare I say, Johnny Kavanaugh may be my favorite though, guys, which is huge. Coming from me, a girl who's obsessed with Divine Rivals and Powerless, I think Johnny Kavanaugh might have them beat. There's just something so special and beautiful about his character. This is just wow. If you love romance books, you will eat this up. I would definitely say it's like one of my top romance books of all time. You guys ever just feel the need to put on cuticle oil? Binding 13 was amazing. I loved it. I don't know what I'm gonna do with myself. I recommend it enough, although I'm sure the majority of you have probably already read that book. Anyways, that is it for today's reading vlog. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. I am gonna end it out on Binding 13 just because I feel like I'm not mentally stable enough to jump into X's and O's. Unfortunately, I just want to stay in Binding 13 with Johnny and Shannon. So that's where I'm gonna be for the next day or two. This was such a successful reading vlog. I'm really happy. We knocked 2 pretty big books off of my TBR. They ended up being amazing reads. Belladonna was a 4.5. Binding 13 was a 5-star. I'm just really happy with how it went. I haven't read like super high rated books yet this year, and these 2 books literally blew me away, so I'm really happy with how it went. If you've made it this far in the reading vlog, comment down below if you've read Binding 13, and if you think it's an overhyped book talk book, or if you think it deserves all the hype it gets. I think personally it deserves all the hype it gets, but I love reading and hearing from other people who have different opinions on books. So if you've read Binding 13, let me know down below what you thought about it, if you liked it, if you didn't like it, and if you think it's worth all the book talk hype. Also peep new Ray of Happiness clothing literally dropping this weekend, so stay tuned for that. All that being said, I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I'll see you in the next video.